Hi folks, this is Tim. Welcome back to Intro to Photoshop exercises that I have online. Seems my headset has stopped working, so this microphone might not sound great. Might need to re-record this. But on our list of Photoshop tasks, this is number 8, make a meme. I used Grumpy Cat several years ago, but time to change things up a little bit. So here we have the famous meme called Socially Awkward Penguin. Relatively old, but then I'm an old guy, so not very hip. But that's okay. Process is the same. You get to pick your own image, find something interesting that you'd like to do. So we're going to take an image and we're going to add text to it. You can use that in any different lots of different contexts, but this is a handy way of doing it. So you can see that the small size of a JPEG for the internet makes it a little bit awkward to work on. So we're going to increase the size of this image. So let's just immediately blow it up to 200%. Give us a little more space to work on. Okay. I'm going to come over here to the toolbar and I'm going to select the T for Type Tool. And you can see that changes the contextual menu across the top. When I started this earlier, it was on 12-point size. I usually like to have that on pixels, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. We have the fonts we can pick up here, which, sorry, where is it? There it is. Zillions of them, hopefully. All right. You can see on my screen, I've got the little square with the I-bar cursor in the middle of it, and you can click and start typing, and then you can barely see that tiny little I-bar right there. But I think an easier way of doing it, let me just get rid of that one. Because I want to place it in a very particular place, put the type in a very particular place, I'm going to click and drag. And so now it's going to make a text box to fit my text into. You can just see the cursor blinking there. Let me make it bigger so you can see it easier. A little bit. I can adjust the alignment of my type, but the point of Socially Awkward Penguin is to have two conflicting views in mind. So this is what I want to do. All right, so I'm starting out with a line of type. Okay, now I want this type centered on screen. So easy way of doing that, sorry, stay on this, is to, if I put my text box aligned to the edges of the image and then have my type centered up here on that option, it's going to automatically put that in the middle rather than, say we've got type like this, and then you're trying to take the selection tool and move it back and forth and figure out just where the center is. You can automatically do that by selecting the type with the type tool and dragging the box to the edges of the image. All right, now there's my first line. You can see that it's made a new layer with the type on it. Now I need to have a opposition idea down at the bottom here. Okay. So one easy way of doing this is to hold down the Option key or the Alt key, and you can see my cursor change to the double triangle. And if I click and drag while holding down the Alt key, it automatically duplicates that layer. And now I can go into my Type tool. I can click inside that layer and change this type to come on. All right, so here's my funny little idea. Let me just put this on a separate line. I don't like that going right to the edges. So I'm going to put my cursor in front of that until, and I'm going to hit the return key so it drops down onto a second line. All right. Now, one of the things we have about instant meme, okay? 2 lines of type, But when you're doing a meme, generally you've got kind of a busy background. So we want to make the type stand out slightly better. Right? So I'm going to go over here to my layers palette, and I'm going to select the top layer. So that's this layer right here is selected. See, I can move it around. Okay. I'm going to go up into here into layer menu and go down to layer style. And we've got all these different things we can do. But with type, one of the easy things to do to make it stand out is to put a stroke around the outside edge. Right? We get this contextual menu that pops up, or this palette. And you can see with my sliders, the stroke puts a line of color around the outside of whatever is on that layer. And we can use this in many different ways. I can change the color to something horribly, not very nice. Lovely. Something that we can't see. All right, so you get to pick what color you want. And in this case, because I'm kind of a classicist, I want to go with something just very subtle. I can change the size of it. I can change the opacity. All right. So what I want to do is find a way to make that stand out. So you can make it stand out or make it slightly more subtle, however you want. Okay. All right. And then I want to do the same thing to my bottom layer. So remember, I'll click on the layer to select it. I'll go up into the layer menu, down to layer style, go down to stroke. And so you want to experiment with these and see what happens with them. And it retains the settings that I just had from the previous one, so that's okay. All right, so what I've got is type that stands out more from the background. You can make it more subtle or put neon green behind it, make it stand out more, or you can stay like that. All right, so now I'm going to save this. First off, because it's in layers, it wants to save it as a PSD. So I'm going to save that with my name. And it's going to save it as a Photoshop file. Make sure it's in my Photo Practice 3 folder. Okay, but we can't put a PSD on the internet. So now I've got my fabulous little meme, but I can't share it with anybody. So I'm going to go over here to Save As. And so if instead of the format being Photoshop, I'm going to save it as a JPEG. Or in this case, we could save it as a GIF. GIFs are better for flat graphics. JPEGs are better for photographs. Covar, Socially Awkward Penguin. And let's keep the sRGB color profile. That's handy for internet. Hit save. Ask me what quality I want. I always use 9. There we go. That's it. Now you can drop that on Facebook, send it on Instagram, whatever you want to do. Thanks a lot. See you next time.